All right, well, we're going live in Workplace as well. Just about to start up right now. So let that get going here, then we'll jump right in. All right. So we are now live on Workplace as well. We'll be sharing this out to on Facebook and the whole nine yards. So this is our weekly update for April 27th. My name is Alan Rich. I'm the managing broker.
And I'm Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty Partners.
And so, ever since the Rona hit us, we have started doing weekly sales meetings, more of a market update, really, kind of thing. And so, we kind of gather what's been going on the week before, how everything's been working, news, tips, information, and then because it's hard for us to be together right now. We wanted a way that we could still engage, still bring value to you as agents, and be able to be of service. Our offices are still open. The branch managers are in place. We're all here and working, but the offices are pretty lonely places right now, just being straight up. So, to start off with, we are seeing, the businesses are going to be starting to open back up more this week.
I mean, even though I think some of the restaurants are opening
Today,
today, but
not all.
not all of them are. So you double check and call the place if you are going. But most of them right now are still doing a lot of the carry out, pick up order, not necessarily dine in and sit down kind of thing. So
And I don't want to get political about this at all.
it's not.
But we're not trying to be political. If you don't feel comfortable going out, don't go out, kind of thing. On the business side, it is interesting to see how this whole thing will evolve. I think a lot of people are looking at Georgia as kind of the crash test dummy on a lot of things right now. As far as opening up the economy, but it's one of those things where you know. Especially for the real estate side of things, we're in a recession right now, but we're in a coronavirus recession. It's caused by coronavirus, and so the sooner that the virus stops impacting us, the greater or the less the impact really should be. We're starting to see some positive things in the economy. We'll be going over those here in another moment as well, just to kind of keep you guys all abreast. But again, we don't want to get political, and we're not trying to get political with it, kind of thing. The businesses are starting to open up, even though we're going to see businesses open up. I don't see us just jumping back in. Like I don't see that people are going to be lined up four deep at bars, and that the restaurants are just going to be hammered. I think it's going to be a slow progression over the next 2 or 3 weeks, kind of thing, as
Well,
fears get eased. And
yeah, and that I think that's the biggest key right now is that the fear factor. Like anything else, when consumer confidence is up, you'll see more activity. But until then, everybody's kind of laying low for the time being. So just we see more traffic out on the road than last week than we ever had the couple of weeks prior. So I know for the folks that did have was affected by coronavirus, some of them had no effect, while other are really, really ill and sick, if not pass away from it. So it just affected everybody a little bit different. But moving along, let's talk about some stats.
Well, I mean, before we get into the stats, the very first thing I'd like to kind of uh, share with everybody, and so we'd like to talk about the fact that first of all, we all have troubles, but it's not that the fact that we have troubles, but it's about how we deal with them. And so I want to kind of start off with an example, kind of thing. And so there was a young lady in 1954. She was born into a broken home in rural Mississippi, out in the middle of
Hmm.
nowhere. And she was raised by her grandmother until she was 6. Her grandmother taught her to be able to read and to kind of have a joy for life. She kind of bounced in between a Milwaukee slum and living with her mother in Milwaukee slum and her father in Nashville, Tennessee, until she was about 9. When she was 9 and she was living with her mother, she was raped repeatedly by friends of the family at the time, kind of thing. And I just can't imagine what kind of a huge impact that has to a young girl. Of course, she kind of rebelled, and she was kind of a disruptive kind of thing. And so out of bad behavior, the mother sent her back to her father. Father was very big into discipline. She ran away from home when she was 13. So, I mean, you can imagine what living on the streets, growing up poor. At 14, she becomes pregnant, and she gives birth to a baby boy prematurely, and he passes away. And so now you're 14, you have not a whole lot of education. You've grown up extremely poor, bounce back and forth, ends up going back to Milwaukee again after losing the baby kind of thing. And she was really bright and got moved into this predominantly white affluent high school, where she was really reminded of how poor she was. And out of that, she ended up stealing from her mother to try and keep up, and that kind of thing. And that made her mother mad, obviously, and sent her back to her father. And so she ended up so she did go back with her father. She worked her way through high school, and eventually she was voted most popular. She won a scholarship to Tennessee State University, which is a historically black college in Tennessee kind of thing. She moved up, went into communications. She was youngest and the first black news anchor in Nashville, Tennessee. Eventually, she relocated to Chicago, and she was tasked with taking over AM Chicago, which was the absolute worst rated show in the state. It had just terrible ratings. At the time, the big show there was Donahue. If you guys,
Donahue, you're dating yourself.
I know I'm dating myself, but I remember Donahue kind of thing. And so over the course of the next year, she became the highest rated talk show in Chicago. And then in 1986, she went syndicated nationally and renamed the show the Oprah Winfrey Show. And so when you look at the story of Oprah Winfrey kind of thing, you see that, it's really easy to say, gosh, I wish I could be like Oprah. I don't know anyone that really says that
No.
that I wish I could go through everything that she went through. And it wasn't, and for a lot of people, you can take things that are bad. You can take a difficult road. It can either be as a reason for an excuse, or it can also be
A reason for success.
And what fuels you kind of thing. And so I love one of Oprah's quotes. She said, "Don't worry about being successful, but work toward being significant, and the success will naturally follow." And especially in real estate, that it's just so poignant to where we are today. My general feeling about real estate is you are successful. I mean, financial success in real estate is a byproduct of being a very successful, good agent. When you do a good job, you're rewarded by that to be financially successful through that kind of thing. And so how good a job you do and the work that you do and how you put that forward, that's really what's going to drive you kind of thing.
Absolutely. So
I did want to kind of start off with, because right now I just see that a lot of agents are kind of taking this whole thing with coronavirus and they're letting it rule them. They're letting their situations own them. And right now is the time when we need to be taking over. We need to be taking charge. We need to be controlling our business and what we're doing with it and how we're trying to move forward across the board kind of thing.
And we're naturally social folks. So it's hard to be crammed up. You feel like you're a small fish in big ocean where that you have no support system and what have you. If you guys would try to reach out to someone that you feel like that can be a good accountability partner for you, and you know get them to talk to you, and don't be upset because as accountability partner they're going to tell you the truth. They're not going to lie to you. So the bottom line is, get someone that you can talk to, and also be an inspiration, encouragement for others because we all need it at this point.
Yep.
So.
Very good. All right. Now, you were asking earlier about some of the stats and figures. So that being said, we still live, we got some realities that we have to address right now. And we can either take these realities and be like, oh, well, this is what's going to really rule us, or we can understand what they are and help to shape where we go from this. And so the first one is there was a recent Gallup poll that only 50% of Americans right now believe it's a good time to buy a home. It's an all-time low. Now, obviously, is that great news for us? No, it isn't. But it's fueled by a lot of different things. Fear is probably
Mm-hmm.
one of the the one that I see pervasive running through almost everything right now.
Right.
A lot of it to me really comes back to '08, and when they feel that the markets are in bad shape and the economy is not doing good, everyone thinks about what happened in '08. And what happened in '08 is not necessarily what's looking like it's going to happen today. And so some of the other information that we're about to give you, I'm encouraging you to reach out to your clients and to your friends, to everybody, and really let them know exactly what's going on with housing. Because at the same time as 50% of Americans believe it's a good time to buy real estate, in the same poll, Americans said real estate is the best investment. So on one hand, we have this whole like, don't buy, but this is the best thing to buy kind of thing. And so, we saw that this, these polls happened on the exact same day that both these things came out on Friday kind of things. And so, we do know that our market is in flux, to me, when this is, I find this so ironic that these happen, that this is happening at the exact same time. Don't buy, but you should buy real estate.
But if you look at it, if you hindsight's 2020, if you were to say what one thing you would do differently had you known back in '08 toward about 2012, that I think that was when the real estate was at its lowest, and then started creeping back up in 2013, 14, and forward. So if you were to look back and look at these things, what would one thing you say that you would do? It's obvious: invest in real estate. You know, there's a lot of investor right now is coming out of woodwork, and they think everything's like back in when a market crash. It's not there. Okay. There are some deal to be struck. I'll grant you that. But as far as a pandemic of foreclosures is not there yet. Okay.
Well,
You
it's not.
might you
I
might
don't think
see
it's going to
some
be there.
short sales, I would say in about 6 months, 3 or 6 months, you know. Um,
There may be some deals to be had here and there.
Right. And that's because for people that are taking the deferment on their monthly mortgage doesn't realize the fine line that they're signing up, which is what Alan mentioned last week, was that if you took 3 months or 6 month deferment on your rent or your mortgage,
Forbearance.
forbearance, excuse me, then what happened is that at 6 months, some bank are making the buyers or the sellers, the homeowners, pay them back in lump sum. And there's no way, and if you're living um, month to month, that you can make up that much differences.
Yeah, and so that's the concern. And so any of your clients that ask you about forbearance, make sure that you explain to them that they need to look at their individual loan documents, because at first it sounds like a great idea. I don't have to pay my mortgage for 6 months, and then they just add it on the end of the mortgage. Well, and there are some instances where that happens, but by and large, the majority of them that we're seeing is that they aren't adding it on to the end of the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling for it to be a lump sum at the end of the forbearance period.
Kind of like the balloon payment.
Yeah. So if you get 6 months off, now you owe 7 months of your rent, of your mortgage on the first day of that seventh month. So that does worry us, is that right now, as of last week, about roughly, right around 4% of mortgages went to forbearance. This week it's around 6.3% of mortgages are now under some form of forbearance. And so that worries me if we see that keep creeping up too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, will the government step in and help those folks at some point? They could. The problem is there's nothing written into that right now. And so as it stands, you're kind of stuck with how everything's run. So it's one of those, could the government step in and do something with that? They absolutely could. Do I know that they will? No. And so that's the hard thing, especially the way the government is right now. We're in an
What?
election year. Everything's going to
Not
be a
only
fight.
that, with PPP, they're giving a lot of money out already for the business to maintain payroll. I can't, personally, I can't fathom the giving out any more without the American going into further debts. So,
All right. So, all right, moving on. We also want, this just came out from NAR that, and this is their chief economist Lawrence Yun,
mhm.
and he thinks that more temporary interruptions to home sales should be expected in the next couple of months. The home prices will still likely rise, and we are seeing that right now. So there is a lot of different information that's coming out. I'm not going to, we're really not going to address the whole coronavirus and what's going on other than the economic data that we really have, because guess what? We sell real estate. I'm not a public health specialist kind of thing. And so we're not, but that being said, signs of slowing unemployment, the U.S. job claims last week was less than the previous 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
and so we seem to be slowly improving there, and I think that we'll continue to see that continuing to move up, because even though Georgia is kind of the crash test dummy for freeing up the economy, it's not just Georgia. There's probably another half dozen or so states where that they are opening up the restrictions as well today, and so I think that we'll continue to see less pressure on on the unemployment systems right now.
Well, not only that, and there are some folks that are playing with the unemployment because of coronavirus. Understand, anytime government's giving out any stimulus money or anything like that, there's always certain rules and regulations. If you don't fit in that rules and regulation, you may be costing yourself a lot of money by filing unemployment too.
Yeah.
So,
One thing that's very interesting right now is that right now we would be going into our peak spring season. And so that being said, we're seeing that transactions overall at the brokerage right now, we're probably down between 35 and 40% as far as volume of transactions right now from where we would be. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. But what's interesting is the activity level on listing traffic, on websites, on Zillow, on realtor.com is all going through the roof. So a lot of people are looking, searching, and plus they've got a lot of time right now.
right.
So this just shows that people are very interested in housing. They want to know what's going on now. And for us, this is a really good time for us to reach out and engage our databases, to reach out our friends, to be engaging on social media. It's really important that we look to do that right now. We also have some other interesting information that came out. So right now, many buyers, about 40% of them, are waiting for the health and economic crisis to pass. According to a survey that was conducted or that wrapped up
Realtor.com.
last week, kind of
Mhm.
thing, we're looking at about 40% of buyers are waiting for the crisis to ease. So to me, the big one on that is we need to be engaging these people right now.
Mhm.
It's not far from half of your buying group. 40% of your buyers right now are going to be are looking to buy a home once this passes. Well, as this, and I know it can get depressing, and homeschooling is a pain, and there's stuff going on everywhere. But that being said, this too shall pass, and when it does, what you don't want to do is to at that point try and reach out. The smart agents are the ones who are out there engaging with their clients right now.
I will tell you, from the back end perspective, I'm still seeing transaction coming through and a lot of listings. So some of you guys are taking this opportunity and engaging sellers. So kudos to you and the ones that are out there doing. But once again, if you're out, please wear your mask and your gloves and be safe about it. Use a proper protocol on coronavirus that we have provided for you guys. At the end of the day, we all want you to be safe. So,
Yep. Now, in addition to our buyers are waiting right now, what we aren't seeing though is any kind of price declines. We're not seeing price softening. Matter of fact, the median home list price, even though it was up moderately, it was still up 0.3% last week, kind of thing. It was up 0.8% before that kind of stuff. The national median price has held really, really strong. We're not looking at any kind of fire sales. We're seeing normal pricing issues, and so but a lot of this is really driven through the basis of supply and demand. Yes, right now we have much lower demand. Well, we also have much lower
Lord,
supply.
yes,
uh,
because your seller are afraid of people coming in their house and potentially infect their house. So,
we didn't have enough inventory before coronavirus. We don't have enough inventory now. We had one of our listings
uh,
got 3 showings this weekend. And so it's, while yes, the number of buyers is down, the number of listings are also down. And so we're looking at both of these to really free up. But what we don't have is just a glut of properties and not enough buyers, because that's when we're going to see the craziness, or that if that were to happen, that's what would cause pricing to really drop. And we're not looking at pricing drop. As a matter of fact, if you look on the monthly housing price index for the U.S. and you look at how it's run, you can see, you know, right there, that's the dip in 0809 kind of thing, 0809, 2010, 2012, all in that area. You
mhm.
can see, in 2017 that kind of leveled out, and we continue to steadily rise. We're not looking at another drop. We just really aren't. And historically, it's not happening. um, and as far as the economy really goes, right now, there probably the biggest debate going on is, are we going to see a V or are we going to see a U shaped recovery? Pretty much, there are quite a few people that are kind of debating back and forth, and when you hear this term like V versus U shape, with a V shape recovery is one that goes straight down and comes straight back up. A U shape is one where it kind of comes down more like a trough and then works its way
Yeah.
back up. Um, I really do personally, for in housing especially, we're looking at very much, in my opinion, much closer to a V-shaped recovery. And if you want to look at even the major financial institutions kind of thing, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, folks that are way smarter than me and have a lot more money are looking at a V-shaped recovery. Right now, there was also a recent poll out there. Reuters did a poll of 45 economists, and and in there it's 22 U-shaped, 10 V-shaped, that kind of stuff. 7 check mark shape, which is much more
Drastic uptick.
right. But I mean, a V shape and a check mark is pretty much the
Hmm.
same thing. There's some folks that'll think it'll still be a little bit more of a wiggle, but this is overall across the broad economy. I really see that in housing itself, mainly because of supply demand issues, because of we're going into the summer buying season. The longer it takes for this economy to come back, the shorter our buying season is going to be, kind of thing. But then the more robust that also should be at the same time, kind of thing, because we are probably losing a lot of our spring market, and hopefully that will fuel us moving back into a much bigger
Summer piece.
summer piece kind of
Right.
thing. Matter of fact, we're even seeing housing demand may have started to come back already a little bit. And I know that I'm a little premature to put this out there right now. Or I'm sorry, not to put this out there. I'm always going to share this kind of stuff, but this just came out on Thursday last week. But I want to make sure that I'm not just, hey, everything's rosy, everything's perfect, everything's great. I mean, we know where we're at, and I think we have to be realistic about that. And so I think it's a bit early to say housing is rushing right back. But that being said, pending home sales, right now are overall about 32% lower annually, which is very
Mm-hmm.
similar to what we're seeing on the brokerage level. Somewhere in that 30-40% is about what we're down, kind of thing. But that being said, as far as week over week for the last 7 days, pending sales were up about 6.2%. And we're kind of seeing the same thing on the brokerage level, kind of thing. So while overall traffic is definitely low, overall we're down
At
30,
30.
35%, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And as of right now, it looks sort of like we kind of hit that trough, and we might be starting to come
Moving up
back
a little
around a
bit.
little bit. And so again, I
It's all depend on consumer confidence and the fear
yeah,
factor.
I mean, and a lot of it's going to determine what happens over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that kind of thing. I think as the temperature starts heating up, and
Mm-hmm.
as cases, hopefully keep declining, that we'll see more and more people out, and the economy getting stronger, more people getting back to work. I think that's going to be really, really good for all of us, kind of thing. But one thing where we definitely want to make sure that we're looking at is that if you want to sell more homes during a pandemic, the number one thing you can do is stop sitting on your butt and watching Netflix at home. Because right now, we're not sitting at home binge watching Netflix, and you shouldn't be either, kind of thing. Okay, I do love Tiger King. I don't know why. Absolutely adore it. But I watched it and now I'm done. Okay. So I don't binge watch like that. But seriously, like so many of us have just, and we see it right now. I've got, we just got a wonderful group of agents that are still knocking them dead right now. And then we have another group of agents that I'm not sure you guys have a pulse. And so it's one extreme of the other. So first of all, you got to stop binge watching Netflix. You got to stop. There's no sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself, kind of
Matter
thing.
of fact, for the one that has a full time job, if you're furloughed or anything like that, right now it's really for you to start your business plan and be aggressive with it, and also have a schedule just like you're at work. And I promise you, once the markets is on the rise, you'll have more business and you know what to do with.
Yeah, I mean, right now we need to be looking for other avenues that people aren't doing, managing our time, and we can't let the distractions of the
Hmm.
coronavirus, of what's going on, of depression, take us over and stop us. I mean, you own your own small business, and what you choose to do with your business is how it's going to move forward, kind of thing. Right now, it's easy to take it easy. There are, for a lot of people, unemployment's actually been more profitable than having a job, kind of thing. And I'm sorry to be that way, but but when you have the government money and that kind of stuff in there, that's not going to stay for forever, kind of thing. And so but right now, it's very easy to take it easy, and that's exact opposite of what we should be doing, kind of thing. Um, the folks who are doing business are because they're still at it. They're hammering it. They're not sitting on their butts at home watching Netflix, kind of thing. So,
Or reruns.
or okay, or reruns, kind of thing. So, but they're still going out. They're the ones doing virtual tours, being smart about how they're doing. They're still writing contracts. We've got to do this every day, and stay diligent on what we're really
And one
pushing
thing, if
ahead.
you're gonna watch TV, man, I recommend watch something inspirational. Um,
All right,
you
Tiger
know,
King is a
no,
very
no, no,
inspirational
no,
of
no, it's
how
not.
not to be a terrible
No,
person.
it's not.
So I'm sorry. Sorry.
I lose a brain cell, just so you know.
All right. Anyway, we're gonna move ahead, kind of thing. So one of the things that we know that we really need to be engaging in right now is social media. But a lot of times, folks are like, "What about posts? What should I be sharing?" Kind of thing. And so I want you to think about the 5 E's of content, and these are pretty easy, kind of thing. So, but so first one, educational. As agents, this is a really easy place for us because we know, it's very easy for us to throw back the curtain and educate folks, bring them up to speed. Um, you know, it's really easy to teach before you reach. and the process of teaching, when you teach other people, when you engage them, and when they're learning from you, that's building trust. It's a really, really great place for you to be.
Well, not only that, they feel like they know you, and not only, and you become a expert subject matter. So, people trust if they can feel like that you deliver and know what you're talking about versus you just blabbering off a bunch of things.
Yeah. The other thing is be entertaining. Now,
Tiger King.
okay, yeah, that one is definitely entertaining, not so much educational, but also being fun, being interesting, doing just being very entertaining. Because I mean, so many of us are outgoing people.
Hmm.
Just work that kind of thing. Being able to be emotional, relatable, talk about what's going on, talk about, how this is impacting your family, your livelihood, what's going on. Show your heart, because so often that's one thing that really missing in a lot of companies is that we actually have a heart, we have empathy, we understand what's going on through, we're going through the same kind of thing. We also need to be work on engaging, and probably the easiest thing with engaging is to ask questions, and the more questions we ask, the more we learn, but the more that people feel like they can contribute as well, kind of thing. Because when you ask questions, it becomes a two-way street. And I'm not knocking, being educational and talking about people, but when you have a discussion between multiple people, even with people who disagree, like one of my favorite things to engage people on is, what's your favorite Mexican restaurant, kind of thing, because we'll
A
punch each other
barbecue.
or barbecue or pizza. We have some very heartfelt feelings about that kind of stuff. But talking about what's going on as well right now. And then anytime you can offer anything exclusive. So some of the content that we try and share out, there's not a lot of people sharing out a lot of exclusive content. You can find content from a variety of different
Hmm.
sources out there. We really like using Keeping Current Matters. We use realtor.com and the realtor associations a lot. But being able to share insider information, what's really going on, keeping folks abreast of everything happening right now, that is just really, really good for us to really kind of work with, kind of thing. Um,
Somebody actually just popped in and
oh,
says,
so yeah, Shannon actually just shared with us a few minutes ago that she just delivered pop buys this week to females in her database. She got nail polish bottles, wrote a note, and she said, "I know nail salons are closed, but I wanted you to have something special for pedicures. You know that your referrals are totally awesome,"
also.
which is so cheesy but awesome at the same time.
No, but you know what? If
I
I was
love
a
that, Shannon.
client and she dropped something like that in my front step, you know what? She'll be the first agent I think of if I was giving a referral or if I'm selling property. You know, um, eh,
I would have a harder time with that one, but yeah, but for Ming, that definitely works. I'm sure Bobby can't do that one either. But
no,
but
Bobby had to do something else. But you
but
know,
yeah, and so the thing is that like what I love about that is that that's not sitting back waiting for the economy to get better before you start engaging in your database. That kind of stuff is just absolutely brilliant to reach out and to engage your folks right now. It is crucial that we do that. Also, go ahead.
okay, there's another one.
Oh, oh yeah. All right. Um, we also wanted to give you some different social media content ideas, kind of thing, as far as what are some stuff that you can do, because a lot of times we just kind of get trapped in our own little mind about, or our own little rut, kind of thing. And so, videos, live videos, other, this one says employees, but other agents, that kind of stuff, market data, articles, blog posts, behind the scenes. There's a whole bunch of different things that we can do and share to mix up our social media content. We do need to be posting a lot of different things. Of course, it needs to, video. Video is really, really big, but polls, infographics, tips, tricks, questions, any of that kind of stuff that we can be constantly engaging is really, really incredibly important for us to try and help build our business and reach out into the social world. So, right now, I just see this as being such a crucial time for our industry and here, especially in the Atlanta housing market overall. Um, this is going to be the time to reap before the harvest right now. The work that is being done now is what's going to set us up into how we're going into the summer. The relationships that we build right now are just absolutely crucial, because we know that 40% of our buyers right now are waiting, and it looks to be really close to about 40% of our sellers are waiting as well right now. And so they're just sitting there contemplating when they're going to do this, and at what point they need to be able to engage and to reach out into these relationships with everyone, kind of thing.
Just got a comment from Tracy right
Okay.
there. Can you read it? I can't read it.
All right. It says, Tracy just shared out. It said, I used the COVID-19 letter about being there for them during this difficult time. I got so many responses from my database and went out with one of them over the weekend. Great job, Tracy. That's exactly what we're talking about. And what I love about that is she's being very poignant about, hey, this is what's going on in our market, kind of thing. And when you use the COVID letter kind of thing to say, listen, we can still do real estate, and there's still, again, the majority of our business is still going on. Yes, we are down, but we're not done, kind of thing. So even though we are down, 65% of our business is still rocking. So yeah, we're down, but you can either choose to let that to let that control you, or you can choose that I'm going to be the one that takes control of my business right now. This is so important. It's a mind game. It really is.
It's about, keeping your focus, and also keep a positive focus. I know I see a lot of back end, so I can tell you who are the producers right now, who is going out there constantly reaching out to their database. If nothing else, think of creative ideas. I mean, Shanna, I love you from bottom of my heart, and your perspective in working your business, because you get all of your business from referrals, and that's because you touch bases with all your database. And I can tell you right now, your database is going to grow.
But referrals is really where it's at right now.
Right.
So many people are still sitting at home, waiting around, reaching out to, and so now's the time to reach out. Now is the time to build your database, reach out to your database, engage your database. Everything needs to be about building that engagement and building that trust. We go from being known to being liked to being trusted. And now's the time to do that. If you wait until the market starts coming back, all the agents that are reaching out right now and building those relationships and are poised to take off as the economy frees back up, they're the ones who are going to be really rocking this thing out and helping to bring us out of a recession. As opposed to if you try and wait until things are already going on, then guess what? As soon as the economy starts coming back, people are going to be going back to work. They're not going to be sitting at home as much. It's going to be much more difficult to engage them. Everybody's going to start getting busy. Right now, there's still a lot of people with their thumb up their caboose. So we have a great opportunity right now. We have a very small window to build this engagement right now. And that is going to help us blow up as we move into the summer. So if anyone has any questions, we'd love to answer those on here right now as well. If anybody wants to throw anything out there, because this is something that we want to continue to do every week and reach out into the, out here for our agents. So if you need us, understand that even not just here, call, text, smoke signals, we don't care. We're here. We're here to support you. Anything that you need, please reach out and engage us. So I don't see any other questions. I'm just going to wrap up with, I really appreciate you.
Fabulous week.
And go get them. Seriously, right. like own your business.
That's
go
right.
out and take charge. So thank y'all very much. We really appreciate you. We love you, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Have a good day.